Madeline Parker Hill and I'm 21 years old. I actually grew up in Melbourne first until I was 10 years old. So I grew in the suburbs but in a quiet school. So I had a few friends there. It was great because the school was great at getting onto bullying, it was great at picking up on any fights, great at student learning. And then I moved to Geelong, which as much as it's a quiet town, I was in a very public school with a lot of other students. And there was a shift there that was very difficult for me because of course when there's hundreds more students at a school, bullies are going to be there. And I found that when I brought it up with the teachers would suddenly not care anymore. And they'd say, oh no, it's fine, it's nothing. I remember even running away a couple of days when I was like, oh, no one will care. So I'd leave, I went up and I left the whole schoolyard until I got bored, so it might be an hour or two, and I'd come back and the teacher went, oh, where did you go? So it was a very big shift from something that was very small and manageable to something big. I don't know, I really just survived it in the end. I found things to enjoy. Like as much as I didn't like the bullies and as much as I didn't like the system or sometimes the teachers there, I'd find things that I did enjoy. Like I enjoyed art, so I'd put a lot of effort into going to the art classes there or spending my lunchtime drawing with friends or putting the time into things that I really am passionate about in a way to block out the things that really, in the end don't really matter. Because now I've finished all my schooling, that I can look back and say, well, did the bullies matter in comparison to how much I grew when I was doing the things that I love? So I've just finished my 3rd year of my animation course at RMIT. It's been really great actually. It's been, because it's a small class and it hasn't got hundreds of students in it, but it hasn't got 2 or 3. There's a variety of people in there, a variety of inspiration, and there's always someone that you can find as a friend, and it's not so distant that you never get to meet anyone, but you can still create little groups of friends in there and have the things that are similar with each other. I just finished my graduate film, so that's going to be displayed for the world to see, or for whoever comes to see an exhibition tomorrow. And I'm hoping that goes really well. I've had every complication in the world come up with making a film, as what happens every time, so it'd be interesting to watch the people's reaction to something I worked so hard on. It's called Seabound, and it's the most complicated story to retell, which was one of my difficulties I had at the start, was fitting a complex story into a short little film, 3.5 minutes approximately. It's a story where in the times of the superstitious England, where they wouldn't let women aboard any boats because they feared that it would sink. There's a girl called Morgante and she tries to stand up against them. So she goes and finds her own boat and she travels out into the sea. And all goes well. She goes, well, what on earth? Why are there so many people having this uproar against me going out to sea? There's nothing wrong. When suddenly this giant sea monster comes out and starts threatening her because she thinks that the woman, Morgante, by coming out to sea, that her only reason for being there is to sleep with the sailors. And so she gets all angry and all upset that there's a woman there taking her sailors away. And before Morgante can explain her reasoning, the sea goddess curses her that she can't sleep with any of the men and removes her lower regions and replaces them with that of a fish. Or in simple terms, she turns her into a mermaid. So it's a story of the origin of mermaids and why women can't go out to sea into one.
My name is Jessica May and I am 23. My first year of TAFE, I signed up to RMITV. It was the main reason I chose RMIT. And I've been a huge part of that community. It's been so much fun and it's a big part of my life. It's really difficult to leave that as well. So working in outside broadcast and working in sport, that's not really something that's covered by the university, and we don't really have any OB shows at RMITV, and I thought it was a big area that we're kind of missing out on training students. So we've set up a training show where everyone on the show is new, all just green kids who want to sort of get that experience and maybe, you know, find out that this is something they want to pursue as their career. So we're shooting a game called Swordcraft, which is you dress up in armour and you fight with foam swords. And it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to watch, and so that gave us the idea it'd make a good show. So we're going to commentate it and treat it like it's the AFL. I only left home last year. I've only moved out for a year, which seems late. When I was at university, a lot of friends had already moved out. And it was really, it's one of those weird things how you think you need to do it at a certain time. Like, oh, I'm this age, I should have done this, that, and the other. So I felt like I should have already moved out. So I started looking for a place with some of my best friends, and we couldn't really find anything, and so we tried this arrangement, just sort of getting used to each other's presence. And like, these are some of my best and closest friends I've known forever. Couldn't stand living with them. They just had all these little habits that just got on my nerves and things I couldn't stand. So we were doing this sort of practice living together thing, and we all came to the conclusion we didn't want to live together. Then it turned out some people I met at university, they had a housemate moving out. He'd bought a home, and so they had a spare room. And so I just kind of asked if it'd be all right if I could take it. So I spent a month living in their house as a trial. And it worked. There were a lot of teething problems, things that I think one of the best pieces of advice I was given was, you will live at 80% of your comfortability. It's not 100% your home, you won't be 100% comfortable. 80% is good, but that also means it's a compromise, yeah. There are things I don't like that happen in my house, but they don't frustrate me, they don't make me angry, they're just, oh, so-and-so likes to watch that movie all the time. Oh well. It's not affecting my life. If I was living alone, that wouldn't be on, but I'm not. So it's about forgiving other people's mistakes because they're forgiving yours. And I certainly do a lot of things I'm sure annoy them. But they look past them and I look past theirs. And we have a great dynamic.